Okay, Omar, this is your swing at the beginning of the session. Now we're going to look at your swing side by side with Grant Waite and look for some differences in certain positions. Now I recommended that you watch that comprehensive video on all of the fundamentals of the 10 positions. We're obviously not going to cover all of those, but I do want to focus on some of those positions that seem to identify maybe some of the areas that we need to focus on first. Now, instead of starting with the one position, the starting position, we're going to start with the impact position, which is the most important. Everything that happens to the golf ball is a direct response to the laws of physics and motion that exist at the moment of impact. The golf ball is on the face of the club for milliseconds. Everything the ball does, the height of the ball, the direction of the ball, the speed of the ball, the curve of the ball, everything is a direct response to what the ball and the club face were doing during that fraction of a second. So the position of the club on the ball at impact is what causes the ball flight. The position of your body at impact is what causes the club's position. Everything you do before impact is in preparation to have a fundamentally sound impact position. So analyzing impact is the most critical part of analyzing a golf swing. First, let's look and see what Grant, you can easily see how the shaft of his club is leaning towards the target. His hands are in front of the golf ball. Keep in mind that every pro, one of the things that they all do the same is they hit the ground with precision consistently, and the place they hit the ground is always in front of the golf ball. They don't hit the ground at the ball or behind the ball, but they hit the ground in front of the ball. They hit the ball first and ground second. They hit down on the ball. They can only do that by controlling their low point. They need to have their low point here. Your swing is a circle. It's a golf circle. And you need to position your low point of your circle in front of the ball. And the way you do that, there's a couple things you have to do in order to do that. And one is to get your hands in front of the ball at impact. If we were to draw a line straight up from the golf ball, on your downswing, your hands have got to cross that line before the club does. Your shaft, it's almost vertical. Your hands are basically right where the ball is. So your low point is basically right where the golf ball is. You have a tendency to be swinging, by the time your club gets to the ball, there's no more down in the arc. You've already bottomed out, and therefore your club is either going very level here, if you're just a fraction off, you actually could be swinging kind of up into the ball. Because as soon as the club reaches its lowest point, the next movement is an upward movement. And so when you have a vertical shaft, you're going to sometimes hit it very thin because you're not hitting down, or you may actually bottom out before you get to the ball and hit it fat. You may hit behind the golf ball. So this vertical shaft is going to result in both fat and thin shots. Now your body's position is what causes the club's position. If we look at Grant's left arm, it's almost in the same line. In fact, I could say it is in the same line as the shaft. So he has a nice extended left arm in the same line as the shaft. So not only are his hands in front of the ball, but everything is in front of the golf ball. And you have a little bit of a bend here. In order to to get you and get the club in a better position, we need to get this line from the shoulder to the ball. We need the arm and the shaft on that line at impact. Now, another thing that really helps get that arm and shaft in that position is getting your body more to the left side. If I were to draw a line straight up from Grant's ankle, it almost passes through his belt buckle, the center of his body right here. The average pro has 85% of their weight on the left side at impact. And you have too much weight on your back foot. This back foot is still flat. Grant is coming off of that back foot. Now this is your position at impact, and it's what causes the club to be in its position. And everything you do before impact, your starting position, your backswing, the starting of your downswing, all of those other movements are in preparation to have a fundamentally sound impact position. Now on the right, I placed a picture, your swing back in May, and your swing now is still very similar to what it was back in May. When I first saw you, you had that bent arm and you had a fairly vertical shaft at impact. You were somewhat still flat-footed, and your weight was still predominantly more on your back foot than your front foot. In the May session, we mainly focused on the driver. We didn't really work that much on the irons. You were tending to hit a low pull with your driver, and we made some adjustments in your driver swing and started hitting some high draws. But we did not really focus on your fundamentals in the iron shot. And when the ball's on the ground, you're hitting an iron. There's a whole new dynamic that has to be addressed, and we didn't really focus on those in that first session. We focused mostly on the driver. But now that we're looking at the iron, it's time to focus on those fundamentals that this session is identifying. The picture on the left is a video of your iron swing at the beginning of the session. The picture on the right is your driver swing at more toward the end of the session, when we started trying to work on some of these fundamentals of getting to the left side and having a good extension in that arm. You clearly have that good extension with your driver swing. So you did make some progress in our last session in terms of getting that feeling of extension. You are definitely more on the left side than you are with the iron swing. Your body weight is more on that left side. There's certainly more angle here in this back leg. Now the picture on the right is of an iron swing toward the end of the session, and it also is showing improvement in the extension. This is just the moment before impact, and your hands are already in front of the golf ball. So that's much better. You have some shaft lean there, and you have a really good extension in that left arm. This is when we worked on putting that left arm on top of your chest. Instead of being on the side of your body, it was more on top, and that's what allowed you to have this better extension here. Now it's still brand new for you, and you aren't comfortable with that feeling yet, and learning how to swing new and differently with that position. But there's no question in my mind that this is the direction you need to go in order to take your game to that next level, to get that next layer of sophistication in your golf swing. We're now going to look at some of the other positions in the golf swing and look for those things that is preventing you from having the most fundamentally sound impact position. Now, when we discussed the impact position, there were two basic things that you were falling short of in terms of achieving the form of the average pro at impact.
One is you did not have enough of your weight on the left side at impact. And so it's important to find the things that you might be doing before impact that's preventing you from getting to the left side. Also, we need to make sure that when you get to impact that you have a good shaft lean in the club. And so we need to make sure that as you prepare for impact, as your starting position, your backswing, and your downswing, that you're doing those things that will help you have that shaft position at impact. Let's look at Grant's starting position. As far as his weight, he presets his weight just a little bit more on his left foot than you do. You're basically setting up kind of balanced, and in fact, if anything, you might have just a slight more weight on your back foot than your right foot. So we're going to want to set you up where you feel like you're about 55% on your left leg. Also, Grant flares this foot out a little bit. That helps facilitate and helps him prepare his left side of his body to absorb a weight shift to the left. If that foot is flared out a little bit, that means as he shifts his weight to the left side, he will not be rolling over the outside of that ankle, but more toward the front of that foot, which will be a more comfortable landing position in that foot. If we look at the extension in this arm and the extension of the shaft, Grant almost has preset himself in the impact position. That straight line that we saw Grant have at impact, he basically is preparing himself for that impact position even at the beginning. He does two things to help him set the low point of his swing in front of that golf ball. He has more weight on his left side at the beginning, and he has his hands in front of the ball at the beginning. Now, your left arm is a little better than what it was when it first started. As we continue to work on having that arm set on top of the chest, that'll help have a better extension at the beginning. And your hands are a little bit in front of the ball. We might want to have that even more. If we drew a straight line from the shoulder to the ball, I would like those hands to be even further to the left. And you don't necessarily have to move your hands themselves, but just by shifting your weight to the left, that will position your hands on that line. Now let's look at your backswing and see what types of things you might do in your backswing that move your low point from, that's right now it's slightly in front of the ball because your hands are slightly in front, but there's something you're doing that's moving that low point behind the golf balls, and so you want to find and fix those. Okay, here we are in the 3 position. This is halfway back in the backswing. The 3 position is when the left arm is parallel to the ground. And it's clear to see that you have moved your body to the right. You've rocked to the right foot. You're basically almost on top of your back foot. And that moves your low point behind the golf ball. And that's what we need to try to avoid. So where Grant is rotating, he's letting his body turn to the right, but not shift to the right. So he's coiling, but he's coiling around the left side of his body. He's letting that left side of his body almost be the axis of his rotation. As his right leg extends, his left knee flexes, his shoulders stay tilted. So those are the moves that you need to develop and learn so that you do not rock to the right, because that's what's causing your problems. Now here we are in the 5 position. This is a downswing move. The 3 position was when the left arm was parallel to the ground in the backswing. The 5 position is when the left arm returns to a parallel position in the downswing. So as we look at Grant, he has downswing. So he stayed on the left side in the backswing, and he moves even more to the left side on the downswing. In fact, the center of his body, his belt buckle, is basically right on top of his left foot, and where your center is still way behind the foot. And so Grant, at the top of his backswing, had more weight on his left side than he did his right side, and he's even increased that by the time he got to his 5 position. He already has probably 80% of his weight on his left foot in this position, so it's going to be fairly easy for him to have 85% at impact. Whereas you still have more weight on your right foot than your left foot, and it's basically going to be impossible for you to get 85% of your weight on your left foot in the remaining amount of time left to get the club to the golf ball. So everything we need to do in your golf swing in order to have a better impact position has got to be built around the concept of feeling a new way of moving, of not letting your body weight move to the right, because when you do that, you cannot keep the low point in front of the ball, and you cannot position the club correctly to hit down on it with the right swing path. I'm now showing you the 9th position of the golf swing. And this is after you've hit the ball, but it is a reflection of the things that have gone on before. Now, I have to say your 9th position is one of your better positions. This was right toward the end of the session when we were working on this position where you're swinging under your eyes. You weren't trying to lift up so quickly, but you have very good extension in both arms. You can easily see how you're on that left side. Really good extension here in this right arm. Of all of out of the 10 positions in the golf swing, the one that looks the most like Grant Wade is this one right here. That's an excellent position. So athletically, you have the ability to make a fundamentally sound swing. And most of our work has got to be in that first move away from the golf ball. Most of our work has got to be in the initial takeaway, the part of your body that moves and the way it moves and the direction it moves in the initial takeaway. Out of all the positions, this is your best, but the position you need to work on the most is the 3 position. This is the 3 position, and what we need to do is work on how to take the club back with more of a rotation so that you stay on that left side more. We don't want to slide and lean to the right when we rotate. We want to rotate while staying on our left side. Once you get comfortable with that new backswing, then everything's going to fall into place.